Hello and welcome to Young Valley Leaders, WDIY's newest monthly show featuring the upcoming movers and shakers in your backyard making it happen for themselves and our community. I'm your host, Holzman, and today I'm here with Sam Younes.
Hello.
Hey, Sam. A little bit about you, a Valley native. You've really pushed yourself and have kind of extended your familiar roots as a restaurateur, an entrepreneur, small business owner. Growing up from a business that a lot of people know here, 40-some years in business with Aladdin, to starting your own business with Zahra. Your work ethic, drive, it's really inspired me in getting to know you over the past year or two, and really has allowed you to set yourself apart from some of your peers and some of the others. So thanks for coming in here today.
Happy to be here.
So a big advocate for taking control of one's life and making it happen. I've seen you do that time and time again, and looking forward to kind of seeing some insights that you may have here to share with the rest. I guess the first thing I'm curious about is what made you decide to go out on business for yourself?
Well, I grew up, both of my parents are entrepreneurs. They opened Aladdin in 1981, and I was born in 1987, so I really grew up in the business. So I knew that business ownership and just entrepreneurship was sort of the route I was going to take, and it was only natural that I also chose the restaurant industry like my parents. Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say I didn't want to ever work for anybody because it is a lot of work. It's just in a different way. But I knew I would want to own my own business one day.
Okay. And so, thinking about the restaurant business, it's something that you've known from growing up into it. But there's a difference of, working in the business versus on the business, right? And now as you get into Zahra and you're growing this entity, at least I always hear restaurants, margins are tight, whether it's food, whether it's costs, it's the labor shortage. How do you manage or work through some of those challenges?
It's such a good point that you said working in the business and on the business, because that's actually where I struggle sometimes. As far as I say to myself, I'm there every day, I work every day, but it's the behind the scenes stuff, which would include social media, trying to hunt catering jobs down and sort of advertise yourself and just thinking outside the box. Sometimes I would think that most young entrepreneurs can agree that you struggle with that a little bit because you're wearing so many hats every day. And it's honestly to say how I do or how or why, but it's just grit, perseverance. I love it. I truly love what I do, and I love my customers. So it's, I do it without thinking about it, really.
And I see you everywhere. So let's unpack it a little bit. Zahra, where is it, first of all?
So Zahra is in the downtown Allentown market on the Arts Walk, which is on 7th Street in downtown Allentown. It's right across from the arena. I've been there for September will be 5 years, which is pretty incredible.
For sure.
A big chunk of that was COVID. So literally living and learning out, that was a crazy, crazy time. I opened 6 months before COVID. So
great timing.
I know, right?
It
was amazing. And I was killing it. And it was just, and then COVID was sit down and be quiet. So I had a really great 6 months opening. And then most of our business is lunch business, with all the businesses down there and all the, corporate lunch and whatnot. So we struggled with that when everyone was coming back after COVID. But we bounced back. It took a while, but I'm happy I stuck it out. And my customers have come to appreciate that I've, been a constant and stayed. And, I have a good rapport with a lot of customers, first name basis and that. So, and Aladdin is on, you didn't ask that yet, but Aladdin is on Union Boulevard in Allentown. It's right near the Coca-Cola Park where Iron Pigs play. And that's been there. My parents opened it, about 4 years ago, something like that.
Wow,
and,
talk about a legacy.
Legacy, right? So actually the first location of Aladdin was on 2nd and Tillman, close to where Elias Farmers Market is.
Okay.
We actually lived upstairs. So my parents had the restaurant on the first floor, and I have 5 sisters, so 6 girls. We were upstairs, and the restaurant was the first floor, and then so it's when you say grew up in the business, it was physical. And I physically grew up in the business, so which is really neat. I wouldn't trade it for. I learned so much just through watching my parents and how hard they worked and how consistent they were. Consistency is another huge one. It's you have to want it for the long haul, because I think people see the restaurant industry as, they see the glitz and glamour and they think oh, this restaurant's packed. This is looks like a breeze. I can do it. but it's really the behind the scenes stuff that just can beat you up. I mean, you're on like a, it's tough.
Your family living literally above the restaurant to growing up in it, but I imagine there's like a closeness between what is business matters versus family matters, and that kind of blending in together. And then as a kid, but even shaping that forward now as running your own business and still having family involved in business, either as your employees within Zahra or working with your family, because I know you still support and help out Aladdin at times as well. So how do you blend that and not... Is it all just always blended, or is there like a keep it business, keep it personal type of thing?
Well, when with work, it's blended a lot because it's such a fast-paced industry. So you really don't have time to separate the two. Separating Aladdin and Zahra is difficult because they go hand in hand. We help each other a lot mutually, and then as far as with my family specifically, we've always been really good about having family time versus having work time,
Right.
Like Mondays we all get together at my mom's house and we try to like make it a rule, like, hey, no one talk about Aladdin, Zahra. Also half my family works at PPL, so we always hey, no work talks. This is just family time. Like, how's school? How's the my nieces and stuff like that. We try to be good about keeping that just solely family time, because it does get it does get hairy. Like, for instance, if I'm at Aladdin on a Saturday and I'm there for like 9 hours and my mom was there the whole time and my sisters and whoever, it's like, yes, I spent 9 hours with them, but I didn't really spend quality time with them. Right. So I don't count that as, or I should say I try not to count that as like, I saw you all day today. You know what I mean? So trying to make it special and do something separate with my sisters or with my mom or with my family to kind of keep both important and both separate as much as you possibly can.
Sure. And so just going to pull the lens up a little bit, Aladdin, Zahra, I mean, I know what you serve, but like, what is the food? What's the cuisine? Like, get me hungry.
Okay. So Aladdin is your traditional fine dining Middle Eastern cuisine experience. We make everything there from scratch: spinach pies, grape leaves, the best shish kebabs you can imagine, chicken, lamb, shrimp, kefta, there's like really nice dishes that my mom makes that are like small batch stuff, like lamb with mushroom stew. And we have, I think a decent sized vegetarian menu. We've expanded it because a lot of people wanting to eat veg, which our cuisine naturally lends itself to that. We don't really cook with dairy. So as long as it doesn't have meat, like we usually do more of like olive oil, lemon, garlic versus like butter and cream. So definitely on the healthier side naturally. Aladdin, we have like these pickled eggplants. They're called megdous. They're pickled eggplants stuffed with walnuts, peppers, and garlic.
Wow.
They are so labor intensive. And I think generationally, I don't know that it will, that's something that my mom and my aunts make that's like, takes literally 3 days to make. It's amazing. It's almost like, think of like Italians with the tomato sauce. Like it's a thing. So there's a lot of labor intensive foods there that really hit the authentic part of Middle Eastern food. So why I'm saying that is as much as Zahra is authentic, think of my stand as almost like an Aladdin Express or like a grab and go version of Aladdin.
Okay.
So I do hit some of like the hummus, the baba ganoush, cauliflower, tabbouleh, like the fattoush salad, chicken shawarma, steak shawarma, the staples. But mine is more in a to-go kind of format.
Okay.
Whereas Aladdin, you're going for the experience.
For sure.
The food is incredible. Not just because it's my parents' place, but it is, lights out good.
No, I've been there a couple times. I can definitely speak. It's
Thank
great
you.
food
40 plus years.
Yeah, that speaks for itself.
Thank you.
And you guys do some fun stuff as well. I was there one weekend and there was some belly dancing going on.
So we have belly dancing.
That's gotta be pretty
unique,
oh
my gosh, it's
compared
awesome.
to other places in the valley.
So we've always had for the last 20, 30 years, I lost count. Every Saturday we have a belly dancer, and they rotate. So we have a few different dancers, and they usually start like first show would be 7:30, second show 8:30, and it makes for a really fun Saturday night because it seems like it's kind of like dinner and a show sort of thing. And we're BYOB, so you can bring your own wine and whatnot. Customers. We always say at Aladdin, geez, we wish every day was Saturday because Saturday night, it's like the place comes alive.
Yeah.
And with the show and, just the energy of the people and people get up and dance and the dancers usually bring like hip scarves and stuff like that. So we make it a good time for sure. So it's fun. But at Zahra, It's Zara. It's more of like you want to taste the authentic food, but you're on your lunch break kind of thing.
Right, and that's equally as important, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, the dynamic from the culture, right? You're talking about authentic cultural food, and obviously that's ingrained in you as a person and within your family. But can you talk a little bit about how you've then taken that and have projected that out here in the Lehigh Valley? And maybe that even goes beyond food. I know you're behind some festivals that have happened here. And there's a very large Middle Eastern, Syrian, Lebanese, and more community here that I'm sure you could speak to a lot better than I can. So how does that all kind of wrap itself together in supporting, itself?
I mean, it's great because Allentown has one of the largest Middle Eastern populations in the country. And that's sort of helped propel Aladdin and Zahra with like the way that our community has responded to us, mostly because some people already know the food or they're interested in the food or they've heard of Middle Eastern food, again, because of how populated we are with Syrians in Allentown. And I think that it has helped because the interest is there. I've definitely done some festivals and events. We've done a lot of events at Aladdin. During COVID, we did huge outdoor events where we did, we set up the kitchen outside and we had like entertainment outside and it was very well received. And at Zahra last summer, I hosted, along with Eli Esbeck from Cafe Vita, he and I hosted a really cool Middle Eastern event. It was the first time in downtown Allentown and that was a hit. And the feedback has been insane. So people want it, like they're like, hey, when's the next Middle Eastern event?
Is it happening again this year?
I hope so. We're still in the planning phase, but I would be very hopeful to say yes.
Okay.
But yeah.
I think that's a really pivotal community here in the Lehigh Valley that you're obviously very, very aware of. Everyone kind of is aware of within their own pockets of community, and I think that's what's important about not just this show, but also about what you're bringing to the table, literally the food, but also then the cultural experience that can help transcend across a variety of different cultures.
That's a big part of it because for Middle Eastern people, hospitality is sort of a cornerstone in our culture. So there's no better way to share that and to share that with other people that through the food. So it's like the hospitality, the generosity, the welcomingness, if that's a word, to show people, the love through the food. So
I was going to back it all the way up and ask about your background a little bit, but you kind of gave that to us already with, starting as a kid, living above the restaurant and then allowing it to kind of move forward here.
Allentown School District grad.
Okay.
I went to ESU for hotel restaurant management, which is really just driving it home.
Yeah.
It's
relevant.
Yeah. I mean, when I was going to college, it was like, okay, I definitely wanted to go to college because I just think that's important for, self-growth. You always have it under your belt kind of thing. And I went back and forth a bit and then decided to go for hotel restaurant management because at that point I figured, it's destined.
So now you've been doing it for yourself. You've grown up into it, but also you have some employees, right? You're managing some people. You're working through and growing your own business, and it's also their growth paths and their careers and how do they want to get involved. Not just your employees, but also thinking more broadly to maybe some people that are listening into this show. Any advice that are for people that are looking to get into whether it's small business or maybe within a restaurant scene, food truck, stand, fine dining, whatever it might be. Any advice to those types of people that are looking to get into it, or maybe those that are already in there and just kind of swimming, trying to figure out some footing on their next step?
I would say to them, if they're contemplating it, they should do it and they should bet on themselves because it's very gratifying to work for yourself. And if you have it on your mind and you're thinking about it, that's your answer right there, is to just go for it. Because whether it's an idea, like you said, a restaurant, a food truck, bet on yourself and do it. And everything will work out. Because I had so much anxiety about opening Zahra because I was under, my parents' coattails my whole life, and it was great. Because I knew that I had this restaurant backing me up forever. And when I decided to kind of go out on my own, it's like, it's scary. You think like, it's my livelihood. I have to. And then I have people like my employees that also, I'm providing them, it gets a lot, it gets to be a lot, but it's worth it. It's worth it when you have those challenges and you overcome them and you grow and you succeed.
Yeah, that's amazing. And something you said there, betting on yourself is absolutely critical. And we're going to get a little bit more into that after we come out of a break here. Again, this is Young Valley Leaders here with Sam Younes of Zahra, and we'll be back soon. All right, and we're back. I'm Louis Holzman here with Sam Younes and Young Valley Leaders, and we're talking about restaurant ownership. We're talking about small business. We're talking about betting on yourself and overcoming some challenges that you inherently come up with when you are starting a business, running a business, and therefore betting on yourself. So, Sam, thanks for being here today. And with that in mind, challenges, I'm sure you came up with some. You talked about COVID when you first started your business. I know food costs have gone up and down over the course of the years. A variety of other things, I'm sure. Anything that comes to mind that you've had to overcome to kind of continue pushing on?
Well, COVID, because it's top of mind, is recent, and it was unlike anything else we've ever seen before. I mean, that was such a struggle because we just didn't know what was going to happen after it. And you had a major exodus of hospitality people just leaving the industry, some permanently, some have returned. Staffing was an absolute disaster to the point where there were weeks there that I was literally doing everything end to end.
Wow.
From purchasing, preparing, grilling, checking people out, cleaning, like taking down the oil. It was wild. It was a wild time that I hope never, ever happens again, ever.
I think a lot of us can say that.
That really tested me personally because it was so easy to just back out at that point. Because like I said, it was only just about a year, not just barely a year in business. So it would have just been like, all right, I'm pulling out. I'm done. This is too much. A pandemic would just did me in. But I decided to push through it and kind of see what the other side of it would look like. And I'm happy I did. And you mentioned food costs. Yeah, I mean, this is every small business owner, restaurant owner, or what have you is facing this right now because it's so unpredictable. So it makes it very difficult. And I don't, as a business owner, because I'm also obviously a consumer, I don't like to raise prices on my customers. But if you have a week where, like just last week, I got a box of romaine lettuce and it was almost $60, where normally it's in the 30s. So things just kind of shoot up like that. And it's kind of hard to contain and maintain as far as well, then today I should change my prices, or today I should do, or I need a new menu board, or I need. Yeah, so I've been trying to stave that off as much as I can, and sort of try to shop a little bit smarter, which sometimes equals more stops. For instance, some places have. I know if there's something on sale somewhere, or if there's something that's just kind of on the hunt a little bit more than you usually have to be. With battling these crazy costs. I mean, because it's not something that's just like a little bit here, $1 or $2 here. That's the normal. It goes up and down. But some things have just totally exploded. So it's just being mindful of that and being a little bit more efficient where I can to kind of curtail, costs going up to help it out. But
yeah, because at the end of the day, the cost might go up, and you don't want to change the prices on your customers, but then that's directly eating in on your margins for you to live as a small business owner.
And for a little bit, it seemed like it was just a few weeks. Then a few weeks turned into a few months, and then it's crazy what you can adapt to. But it's like, hey, wait a second, this is getting a little. So things have leveled out a little bit, where it's been, you have some breathing room again as far as what your margins are and stuff like that. But
so when you think about operating a business and working with other people, are there any core values in life that you have, or even principles that you live by that then find its way into your business or into your operating principle?
Hard work ethic, honesty, integrity, and I definitely like to have fun when I'm at work. And I think that those, values have helped me. I struggle with people that don't have a strong work ethic. Right. I hate to say this generation, but I definitely have found that having the kind of work ethic that I have has gotten me to where I am today. And along with being honest and fair business owner, and I sleep like a baby at night. You know what I'm saying? I own my business. I run my business very fair and clean, and with my customers, with my employees, and with myself.
And
So
that's probably what makes it sticky, both from an employee standpoint, and you said you have very loyal customers as well. Like, I mean, they see the culture, they see you leading from the front and not just giving orders, but literally pushing and pulling everything forward yourself
every day.
Every day.
So, and it's unrelenting sometimes. You feel like you have like a rock star day where, you know, I made 100 sandwiches, or I had 100 orders or whatever, and then the next day you wake up and you go to work. It's 11 a.m. You're opening a new day, and it's like you're only as good as your last gig kind of thing. It's just doesn't. You have to just keep moving, you know.
Yeah.
So it definitely beats you up in that way because you feel like you're constantly trying to stay on top.
Is there ever a day off? I mean, I've seen you flipping donuts on Saturdays down at the Easton Market.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's a little plug. Yeah, Aladdin's in the Easton Farmers Market. We've been there for 12 years. It's a really great market. We're there every Saturday, 9 to 1. And
to qualify, it's not donuts.
It's not. They're not donuts, and they're falafel. But the way I make them so beautifully, I'm not gonna lie, they look like donuts. So So we've been there for 12 years. That market is amazing, and it's just growing right alongside Easton, because Easton's blowing up, and so is this market. I've been there for 12 years, and it's just been on a steady upright.
So like Monday through Saturday, you're physically working somewhere. I mean, Sunday
I'm off.
Payroll?
Sunday,
You're doing
right?
your accounting back end?
Sundays I'm off.
Yeah.
It's like I'm still worrying about 100 other things. That is another thing that, just talking about struggles that I missed earlier, is that, you know, the restaurant industry, it beats you up physically and it beats you up mentally. So we have a unique, you get the mental exhaustion and the physical exhaustion. So that always makes for a quiet Sunday for me, because I'm just like toast after the whole week of, of just, the nonstop grind between like, did I run payroll? Did I pay my insurance? Did I do this? And then it's like, shoot, I'm out of tomatoes. You know what I mean? There's always like something. So So Sundays and Mondays are pretty light for me. So that's like my recharge rest time. It's, I think to myself, I don't know how long I can do this business at this level, but I'm doing it now.
So, I mean, with that in mind, is there scale that you want to take Zahra, or is this where it is? Like, what's in store for Zahra? You think the rest of 2024, 25, maybe even 26 year, what's to come? In an ideal sense. I know you can't tell the future.
Yeah. Well, ideally, I plan to have 2 or 3 locations in the Lehigh Valley, strategically sort of, away from each other, that they don't conflict, obviously.
Sure.
That would be a good plan right now I have my downtown Allentown location. That's the first one. So that's there. And then we'll see 2 or 3. That would be the plan. Preferably like kind of like an Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton thing. But, however it shapes up. And we're also looking at a food truck from an Aladdin standpoint as well. So we've gone through a lot with that, trying to figure out.
Going mobile.
Going mobile. Yeah, Aladdin Express. So.
You got to get a magic carpet.
That was good. Right? That would be fun. No, what was I going to say? Aladdin. Yeah, so the food truck, it would be fun to have with now in the Lehigh Valley, all these breweries and wineries and different kind of opportunities, food truck festivals, et cetera, that are just, we feel like we should be taking advantage of it. So we've been planning that for a while. We debated on, do we buy a used one, fix it up? Do we buy a new one and just dish out a ton of money, go all in? Yeah. So but that's in the works.
Lots of decisions when you're betting on yourself,
exactly.
because it's all coming from you and in this case, your family too. So definitely never easy, but certainly well worth it. Lots of sweat equity that doesn't show on paper too,
exactly.
I'm sure.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we talked a lot about Zahra, but I'm sure you do other things as well as work here and there.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, what do you do for fun? And
what do I do for fun?
What's there to do in the Valley? Any best kept secrets? And you can expand upon that. Maybe it's not just in the Valley.
I mean, Lehigh Valley, I have they're probably not best kept secrets, but favorite restaurants, Shout
them out. Where should people go?
Favorite restaurants. Okay. Apollo.
Okay.
In Bethlehem, Comey, in the promenades, Oak in Easton.
Nice.
Top Cut.
Nice.
Your girl likes a filet.
Okay.
And
are we medium? Are we rare? Are we
medium?
Okay.
Medium.
Okay.
Yep, medium. Sometimes I get medium rare from
really feeling saucy.
Feeling crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, stuff to do in the Valley. My gosh, all winter I don't get there as much as I should, but I have a season pass to Blue Mountain. I love to ski all winter as much as possible. I usually do like the off-peak stuff so that like doesn't include weekends, which I would never be able to go on a weekend. So I have like that off-peak pass like Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
I did that last year. Well, last year was kind of, but the last 2 winters have been just not winter enough.
Yeah.
So there's that, but and just time with family and friends, hanging out, checking out the new spots in downtown. Rye, sports and social. There's a lot of exciting things happening in downtown Allentown, which has been great to see. And Philly, New York, that kind of thing.
You travel a fair bit when you can?
Oh, yeah.
No, I find that to be important too. Probably gives some good perspective for when you do come back to Allentown and come back to the Valley.
And it's nice to go out and see different. I always try to look up a Middle Eastern restaurant if I'm somewhere outside of the Lehigh Valley, just to see, just the creativity, kind of get inspired and, see what's out there.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Learning so much about yourself and your own community when you go other places, it really allows you to expand that.
And it's like hitting the refresh button, which is nice,
For sure. Especially when you're just on go 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that little refresh
Definitely.
reset. So kind of with that in mind, thinking about maybe you don't necessarily day to day think about yourself as a leader, but I mean, you're running your business and maybe you do think yourself as that. But thinking about that, a little bit more intrinsically, if you will, like what does that mean to you to be a leader, to be kind of a younger up and coming, whether it's within your business or also kind of within your family, starting to take some of the reins over? What does it mean to you? I don't want to tell you what it means to you.
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. I mean, for me, it kind of goes hand in hand with like how I would define, success and that kind of thing. And I feel like for me, recently in the last couple of years, when I've had peers kind of saying to me, hey, I have this problem at my business, and I thought like I'll ask Sam. To me, I mean, you can have all the money in the world, but when someone in your like, your community that's either older than you or whatever is coming to you for advice and to pick your brain about something because they look at you as a restaurant, I don't want to say expert because I'm not, but they're thinking of you to call on them for advice and for help if they're in a situation or to, how can I help them sort of thing. The flattery that came with that, I wasn't even expecting in my mind. It was like, people are asking me for help. I'm like, what? So the leader thing and like how, and I appreciate you saying that and I appreciate you bringing me on altogether. Honestly, this has been great. But it comes from, I think, that sense of, leading your community and leading your people that are your, what's the word? I'm trying to think of like
your circle.
Your peers,
your peers.
And like being looked at as that person to like, hey, I have a question. I'm going to ask Sam. That to me is validating. And that's like money in my pocket in a very, I know it's like it's not tangibly money, but it feels like that, has really been a surprise for me that has, been very validating.
Yeah, well, people look at you as a reliable source of information, and not just in the restaurant world, but within life. And that's what, as I've got to know you over the past couple of years, I've experienced that myself, but also experienced other people, pointing to you in that way. And it was one of the reasons I'd asked you to come on. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
I know today's been a little bit of a hectic day for you, as
sure.
many of them are.
For sure.
Taking the hour out here is really appreciated. We are getting close to time here, so really want to make sure that you have the opportunity. How can people get in touch with you and or your businesses? So
for Aladdin, we're on Facebook, The Aladdin Restaurant, Aladdin. And for Zahra, I'm on Instagram, Zahra_Allentown. I can shout out the phone numbers if
whatever you want.
Aladdin is 610-437-4023, and Zahra is 610-508-9100.
We can get some of the socials and websites linked in the following as well here. So as we get close to wrapping up here, any advice, final comments, words of strength or encouragement for any of the upcoming leaders that may be listening in?
If you're listening in and you're curious about becoming an entrepreneur or a small business owner, bet on yourself and do it. I don't want to sound like Nike, but
no trademarks there.
Just do it.
Just bet on yourself.
Just bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And
I love it. Well, thank you, Sam, for coming in. That's Young Valley Leaders, episode 4 here in the books with Sam Younes, owners of Zahra and Aladdin. familial
biz, yeah.
business. Really appreciate the insight that you've brought here to small business, to being a restaurateur, and frankly, just being a leader within the community as an individual across industries and across your peers. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and this show will be aired live on Monday. I don't even know what the date is. 15th? 13th. Hey, Monday the 13th at 6:30, and we look forward to hearing that. But then it also can be found on all of the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, WDIYs, YouTube, social media channels, both with the video and audio format. And with that in mind here, I want to give a big shout out to some of the people that make this program possible. Lauren Matthews with an awesome logo for the Young Valley Leaders brand. Matt Cajun live and in studio with us today here. Thank you, buddy, making it come to life live on screen through the cameras. And James, Seamus, and all the good folks here at WDIY that gives us the time and the space to allow this show to come alive and help support the efforts to disseminate across the website, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and social media. Anything else from your end, Sam?
No, thank you so much. It was so nice to be here.
Awesome. Well, again, I'm Louis Holzman, your host of Young Valley Leaders on WDIY 88.1, Lehigh Valley Public Radio. Thanks for tuning in, and until next month.